Hey, Candice, welcome back to our show.
Thanks.
So today's topic is going to be an interesting one, but I have a question for you before we jump into the episode.
Okay.
What kind of Disney videos do you seek out on social media?
One's dealing with food
Okay.
because I'm a foodie. But also, I really appreciate the ones that just have like the walkthroughs or the ambient music or something that will take me there without having to actually pack up and go and deal with all the brouhaha that is that.
Right.
How about you?
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I really was kind of stuck in all things walkthroughs, the ride-alongs, all of that kind of stuff back when the pandemic happened and we didn't know when and if we were ever going to get back to a park. But I think the further I get away from it, the more I'm kind of annoyed by what that looks like and how people approach the parks.
Okay.
So I've kind of defaulted to ambiance and that kind of thing as well, which is, yeah, I think it's just, for me, it's the evolution of where I am as a fan.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Plus, and I will say that there are some, like, you kind of have to dig for it sometimes, but there are some of those ambient videos that have the old music and the soundtracks that just take me, like, it's a nostalgia thing for me at that
Right.
point where it's like, oh, I miss this audio so much.
Right. Just takes you back to where you were and all of that kind of thing. Yeah,
Yep.
100%. So today's episode is going to be all about ride-throughs and ambiance. But before we get into that, listeners, don't just tune out now if you're not an influencer fan, because Disney's introduced something pretty exciting that we're going to get to after the break.
Absolutely.
Hey, welcome to Hanging at the Hangar Bar. I'm Scott.
And I'm Candice. We're here to chat all things Disney as child-free Disney adults. Stories, snacks, and a little magic along the way.
Grab a drink and get comfy and come hang out with us.
Welcome back to the Hangar Bar, everyone. We are so glad you are here.
Absolutely. It's been a full weekend so far, and it's hot as the day is long outside where we are today. Heat warnings and the whole shebang.
Yeah.
So
It feels like Florida in the summer.
It does.
With
It
all
really
the
does.
humidity,
Yes.
all of that, it truly feels like we are at Disney without all the benefits of being at Disney.
Yes. Like
Yeah.
no swanky resort to go back to.
Right.
Those kinds of things.
Yeah, 100%. So fans, just as you thought that influencers kind of ruled Main Street, Disney has dropped their own point of view videos,
Which I think are fabulous.
which are pretty fantastic. We're actually doing sort of product research as we are filming this, going through all the ones that are out on Disney Plus. You look confused.
You said filming this.
Recording this, filming it, whatever. It's fine. And we are sort of watching through some of the park walkthroughs now, but we're going to get into all of that here in a little bit. Disneyland turned 70 this year.
Yes, it did.
Just a few days ago, right?
A couple weeks ago.
Couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
So in honor of that, on Disney Plus, you can go out and you can find attraction ride-throughs. You can find all sorts of interesting things out there. Park walkthroughs, which is kind of what we're doing, or land walkthroughs, I should say, which is kind of what we're doing this afternoon as we record. But I think it's pretty fantastic content, but we're going to get into it a little bit deeper as we go through this episode. From the things that you've seen and watched so far, Candice, from these ride-throughs and these POVs, talk a little bit about what's different for you from fan-made or influencer-made.
So I think the biggest difference that I have noticed is that you don't get to experience any of the queue situation at all, either lightning lane or standby. So you don't get to see what that experience is like. It's also a very controlled environment where there are no other guests around, so you don't get the background hubbub noise and somebody's trying to scream over them into a microphone that's probably ill-prepared for that sort of thing.
Right.
And then I appreciate the videos very much because I think I commented to you when we were watching the Haunted Mansion one, we're actually seeing it as it was meant to be seen, and not while somebody's trying to be a wise ass and talk through the pre-show or recite the pre-show along with the recording. So I appreciate it from that standpoint, but it almost feels a little bit too sterile to me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, it seems a little bit too controlled, a little bit too scripted, a little bit too directed, a little bit too perfect,
Yeah.
if you will.
As much as I really love the idea of seeing all of these things without people, Disney needs people
Yeah.
to make it feel like Disney.
Yeah.
Like, being the only person doing something just makes you feel a little out of place. It's almost a little uneasy.
Yeah.
Like, the one we're watching right now is a walkthrough of Disneyland's Cars Land, and it just feels ghost towny.
Yeah. Well, and we've even been in that situation in real life, because you'll remember, like, I think it was our first after hours in Magic Kingdom where we were in New Fantasyland by Gaston's Tavern, and we were the only people back there. And the ambient music was playing, but we were the only people back there, and it was creepy.
Yeah. Yeah, it just doesn't seem the same without cast members standing around.
No.
Like, that would have been one of the things, and we may get into this later, but that could have been one of the things they did differently. It's obvious that they either did these films late at night or super early in the morning after park was closed or before it opened. I think they would have been well served to at least have more cast members milling around, or make it feel like the places were alive, because that's one of the things that makes Disney is that kind of alive feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's missing a little bit. But what I will tell you I love is the quality.
Oh, 100%.
You can tell this wasn't just somebody on their phone or somebody with a $2,000 camera and a ring light. These were filmed intentionally.
Mm-hmm. And I do appreciate that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. And I was so looking forward to the rest of these that came out, because the first one they released was back on May the 4th.
Right.
And
Rise of the Resistance.
it was Rise of the Resistance for Star Wars Day. And that one did walk you through a big part of the queue.
Mm-hmm. Well, that one you almost have to. I mean, because so much of the story is...
There's three separate spots that really draw the queue in there, or draw the ride together there, and the queue goes between them all. So, but I thought when they got into the others, like, I knew I wasn't going to be 100% satisfied, like when it went to the Haunted Mansion one, and it was an 8-minute video.
Yeah.
When the attraction itself, from stretching room to end, is probably a 15 or 20-minute experience.
Yeah.
Tiana's was the same thing. They cut out a lot of the dark parts of that maybe are the things that people complain about those attractions, of it slows it down too much. It does whatever. They cut that in the filming or in the editing. And I was a little disappointed that it wasn't just a true ride through.
You would think that they would learn after the whole debacle with Muppet Christmas Carol, that they would just leave things at their length that they're supposed to be.
Right.
As originally intended, and
Yes.
not cut things out that you don't think matter.
Right.
They do.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Okay, so that gives you a little bit of an idea of the content that you're going to find on Disney+. So, spoiler alert, if you don't like ride-throughs of rides, or you want to be surprised if you've not been to Disneyland and you don't want to see the attractions before you go on them and witness them yourself, avoid the ride-throughs. But I would still suggest watching the land walkthroughs.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're, like, just sitting here watching those even without sound on, it's just fantastic.
Yeah.
Kind of love it. We're at Adventures Campus right now. And again, they're walking through an entire land in like 4 or 5 minutes for each one of these. It's not a huge time commitment.
Right.
Let's talk a little bit, though, Candice, about how influencers have shaped how people interact with the parks.
Okay.
So, like, how long have Disney influencers kind of been a thing?
I want to say probably since 2015.
Okay.
I mean, that's the first time that I think I really started noticing them or paying a lot of attention to them. They may have existed before and I just never kind of grabbed onto it. But that, I think, is probably the latest that I've seen.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to just think of the first time I saw a Disney influencer, like one of those Disney food blog type places, or All Ears, or um, I know there's some individual influencers that have been doing it for a long time.
Yep.
But we really kind of got into the influencer, like watching YouTube videos and park content creators, that kind of thing around COVID.
Yeah, we did because we're like,
All we have to do is sit at home
right.
and the world around us is going to hell. Let's dream about something
Let's
more.
go to our happy place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think how has, again, going back to my question, how has how has us connecting with influencers, and connecting is probably not the right word, but how has us discovering, watching, hating on all of that influencers, how has that shaped how you experience the parks?
So that's kind of a tough question because when you say how you experience the parks, are you talking about you and I?
Yeah,
Or, and
let's both.
okay. Well, starting from you and I think it's made us and the longer that we've watched, the more we've gotten like this. But it's almost like we're rallying against their advice and we're figuring out what works best for us.
Right.
And like, just because they eat a particular kind of snack, Gaston cinnamon roll, like, I think we tried that because there was such a brouhaha about it from influencers. And they're like, oh, this is the best cinnamon roll ever, and blah, 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 blah. And we get it and are sorely disappointed and still will rally that it's the most trash cinnamon roll we ever had.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we've kind of built our own path, which I think is important
Right.
to do. I think there is a severe case, not necessarily with us, but just with people who follow influencers in general. There's a severe case of FOMO.
Mm-hmm.
Where if you don't take your picture in front of the bubblegum wall, if you don't have a certain kind of snack, if you don't go on this particular attraction and have this particular picture of it as you're on the attraction or part of the queue line or whatever the case may be, that you weren't actually there. And I think that's really sad.
Yeah.
Because I think part of that is the demise of taking people away from the detail.
Right.
Because they're so focused on, I have to have this, and I have to do this, and I have to make sure and be able to prove that I was here, here, and here. No.
Right.
You don't have to do any of that.
Right. Yeah, agreed. I think that's one of the things, like, I think people also expect more of Disney because of influencers too.
Yes.
Like, it used to be you went to Disney and you did what was right for you in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Now you go in with a certain set of expectations because somebody that spends 6 days a week in the park said I should do this.
Right.
I have to make this. And the person that I hear that spends 6 days a week in the park says, here's how you do everything. And they're playing games and they're like, here, I'm going to get on every attraction. Can I get on every attraction in 4 parks in one day? And it sets, I think, unrealistic expectations.
I agree. Not only that, but then when people are there that many times a week, like, they're going to be subject to more of those magical moments or those pixie dust moments that should not be expectations.
Right.
But I think because influencers say, well, if you speak to a cast member nicely, they're going to give you these things. And it's like, that's not always the case. And we shouldn't be holding cast members to that expectation.
Right. Yeah. Them not pixie dusting you does not ruin your trip.
It shouldn't.
Right. If it does, you need to rethink your priorities.
Yes. I was just going to say there needs to be some reassessment going on there because no.
Yeah. And so what do you think the value of influencers brings? Why do you think Disney allows so much of their copyrighted stuff to show up online and be monetized?
It's free advertisement for them. It's less marketing that they have to do, less updating of promotional videos that they have to do. And honestly, there's this whole community of people that get invited to media events, like before festivals open up or before attractions open up. They get to see it first, or like when a new cruise ship launches, they get invited on trips and all of these other things to get the footage and the experience and all of that kind of thing. And I think it's just a vehicle for free advertisement and somebody else's perspective that's not quite so shiny and clean and Disney.
Right. Do you think Disney likes that, though? Do you think they like the fact that people are out there saying, "Oh, I don't like this," and do they like the fact that people are setting such weird and high expectations?
I would say no, but I don't know how they would stop it, honestly.
Right.
Because I think there's a fine line between like infringing on people's rights and just completely being like, no, you can't record anything, you can't take pictures, you can't,
Right.
all of that.
Right. Yeah, and I think just some of it is they lose a little bit of control of the narrative.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I think they also, and maybe they do, like the only people that get invited to media days are the folks that are doing it right. Like they're not the ones that are out there with their selfie sticks running into people. And they're not the ones that are walking around the park on live streams talking to people while they're on rides. Like, is it the people that are truly adding advertising value that are getting compensated? Or are those annoying people also the ones getting compensated?
I mean, that's kind of subjective because what you and I find annoying, somebody else may find fantastic.
Yeah, that's true. And I've been lucky enough that I've not ever run into an influencer in the wild.
That's probably a better thing for them than it is for you because you said what you would do.
Yeah, I would be so annoyed.
Uh-huh.
Especially,
and annoying.
Right, I would be annoying, especially if they were infringing upon my experience. And I think the other thing that Disney has to be careful of, and I know they have rules around this in the park that you might be able to talk about a little bit more in detail than me, is some of those influencers are celebrities now.
Yeah.
So when they're seen out and about around the parks, they almost come across as part of the brand.
Mm-hmm.
So how does Disney deal with that?
I don't know. Because I know for a while there was a thing where like if somebody was stating an opinion or something on TikTok or something like that, they would say, I don't work for the brand, I don't speak for the brand of the company. I think that's very important. And I think that that's worth some investigation.
Yeah.
If somebody is not putting that out there, like front and center, not in little tiny type, but like front and center, we are not representative of Disney. I think that's something that needs to be explored a little more, honestly.
Yeah, even so much as, and this is where I know Disney does have some rules, of people crowding around an influencer to get their picture taken. Like they're Tom Hanks walking through the park.
Mm-hmm.
Like chasing them and surrounding them and talking to them and things you wouldn't do with normal people you don't know.
Right.
But as soon as they're holding up a camera and they're talking about Disney and you've seen a YouTube video, oh my God, they're on my TV, they must be famous. Like that's got to be hard as an influencer, number one.
But you kind of ask for that.
You do ask for it. Like that's one of the things that goes with it. But as Disney, you see those people around with a group gathering around them. You have to deal with that because they're not part of the brand.
Right.
And a group congregating around, and even some of the Facebook groups and that kind of thing that we're a part of, where they do big events like, hey, let's do this organic meetup in the park. And then you have 300 people show up in one area of the park. It potentially ruins the experience of the 301st person who's not a part of that group.
Right.
And I think it's just something they have to be very careful about.
Right. My biggest ick with that, though, is, and again, we're going back to the food videos that I like so much because I'm a foodie. I like to see what new foods are available. Not that I'm going to go get them all because somebody said it was delicious, but I want to know what's out there. My biggest ick with influencers and food, though, is when they are in a restaurant, and I'm talking table service here, and they are recording their food and they are giving like live reactions and reviews of whatever it is that they're eating, drinking, ordering, whatever the case may be, while there are other people around trying to enjoy a meal.
Right.
Those table service meals are not inexpensive. Even if you're on the dining plan, some of them cost 2 credits. That's not cheap.
Right.
Why would you want to ruin somebody else's experience for a little bit of footage?
Right. Yeah.
That irritates me.
Yeah. All for the 30 cents a view that you're going to get or whatever it is.
Right.
Because there's so much, it's about me. And I've said that about Disney for a long time. What makes Disney, what I like about what Disney brings and the brand and the culture that they've built is it's not just about me and what I get. It's about what the community gets.
Yes.
And I think that's one of the other things that the more I dig into and learn about influencing and how they do what they do, it becomes an awful lot about me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think experiencing the parks too, the ride POVs, that kind of thing. Would Disney have been expected to put together these ride POVs 15 years ago?
Probably not.
And they wouldn't have.
No.
Because they wouldn't have had all of this out there in kind of crap quality that they maybe feel like, oh, we need to put this out there. Yes, it drives eyeballs to Disney Plus, all of that. People are going to be like, oh, Disney's doing it. It's going to be great. Let me go watch it on Disney and watch it on here and do that. I was very hopeful, and this is sort of moving into the next section, is I was very hopeful that this would start putting influencers out of business.
That would be nice.
Right? So why do you think Disney did this now? Is it just because it's the 70th, or do you think there's other reasoning behind it?
Okay, so we've talked about it before that there is no coincidence with Disney.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that they do leads to something else. My theory is that doing this, they're going to see what kind of traffic they can get a hold of with these. And as we talked about when Lanny Smoot was introduced into the Innovators Hall of Fame or whatever big award that he got, the Walt was the only other one that had.
Mm-hmm.
And he's developing the floor that moves where you walk. And you heard that right, ladies and gentlemen. The floor moves where you walk.
Right.
I think that might be coming all together, where they're going to be pushing videos to Disney Plus, maybe as a paid part of Disney Plus, like more paid than what we already are. But then you can go out and walk through lands and have the walking floor on your floor and visit the parks.
Right.
I think.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. And that's a very good point of, let's see how many people go out and walking through the lands on Disney Plus, because can we sell a 12-foot by 12-foot mat for $2,000 and then $100 a year subscription for people to go walk through the parks?
Mm-hmm.
And then what does that mean for rides? Does it mean, put a chair down, buy this $5,000 chair that goes on your 12 by 12 mat, and you will get the experience of being on these attractions.
Right, with this $3,000 VR headset that makes you feel like you're actually there.
Right.
In this $5,000 chair on a $1,200 mat.
Right.
I mean, the marketing does itself,
right.
actually.
Yeah.
But I can see it happening.
Agreed. Yeah, I think that's probably a big piece of it. Do you think there's also... Am I overthinking this when I think they're doing some of this to try and compete with the influencers too?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so, because like you said, there's really no way for them to control the content that's being put out there by the influencers. And I think, particularly with Disney World, I think maybe part of this might be to help mitigate crowds a little bit, because it's getting to the point where it's not going to matter how much they charge to get in. It's always going to be super overcrowded. And I think that's because there are so many influencers that go there 6 days a week, 7 days a week, whatever the case may be. And you've got all this content out there, and you've got people saying, well, I have to go see that.
Right. Yeah, and I wonder if, too, this is not their foray into that kind of an audience. Do they create their own YouTube channel? Or do they all of a sudden Stacy comes back and there's Disney Plus content that's pushed out daily of them doing some of the things influencers do around the parks. They're just doing it better.
Mm-hmm.
And they're talking about, they're showing people the curated experiences that you can have from Disney's point of view of how they want to sell it versus, and we've talked about this, I don't know if we've talked about this on the show or not, but we've talked about it before, that the danger in that is, yes, I would probably seek out that content, but there is some value in someone that doesn't work for the company telling you what's happening.
Yes. Because it feels more honest and not so
markety.
Yes.
Marketing-y. It's a tough thing to say. But
it's a big word.
Yeah, it's not a real word either, but I think people
are
trying to go.
Yeah.
Right? It just...
anything like lightning-y?
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
Again, not a real word, but we can use it as one.
I like it.
But yeah, I think that's where we really run into... There has to be a sense of honesty there, and I think that's what social media brings.
Mm-hmm.
Is that, yes, so every influencer comes out and says Gaston Cinnamon Roll is fantastic. We go and it's not. But then to me, that also calls into question, are they just trying to say things to get Disney to like them? So they get invited to more events, they get hosted for more things, they get more free shit.
Right.
And so that whole game, that whole influencing game, that kind of thing, I think brings a lot of that up. We've watched all the ride-throughs and most of the walkthroughs of the lands. Mm-hmm. What do you think of the difference between a fan POV and all this ultra polished footage that we've gotten from Disney?
I think the stuff that is out on Disney Plus right now and that we're actually watching through right now is beautifully done.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate the purity of it, if you will. But I think to your point earlier, I miss seeing people milling around. And not being obnoxious, but just walking from place to place and doing their thing, living their life,
right,
and being happy in the Disney sphere.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that I think, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, that I think I miss from what influencers do is digging in a little bit deeper.
Mm-hmm.
Like, these all feel very surface level.
Yes, they do.
For a company that's known for its storytelling, we're watching the one on Disney Plus right now that's the walkthrough of Main Street USA. There is so much story to be told there. Mm-hmm. And so they pushed out a 5-minute video instead of walking around and showing you all the windows on Main Street. Instead of showing all the nuance and that kind of thing that you might be able to see when there's no one else in the park, they're not showing that. You get that from influencers.
But I wonder how much of, and I'm sure it's intentional. I'm sure they didn't forget the details because they don't.
Right.
But I wonder how much of this is sort of another spin on the marketing thing of, if you want to see more, come see us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you're probably right there. So do you think them releasing this, number one, it's advertising for the 70th, 100%. We know that's what it is.
Yes.
But do you think this is about them creating content, or do you think this is about them trying to control the narrative?
I think it is an experimental piece of creating content.
Okay.
Like, because if this goes well, I can fully see them moving into Disney World or some of the other Disney parks around the world,
mm-hmm.
and doing this kind of thing there as well.
Yeah.
And just making a section on Disney Plus completely of park experiences.
Right. Is it also, are they using this as a potential play to try and get people to Disney Plus? Or do you think this content is too short form for that?
I don't know. So if we didn't have Disney Plus, I don't know that hearing that this is out here would make me want to buy Disney Plus, because I know that I can go to YouTube and watch the same sort of thing, only with people and all those things.
Right.
So I don't think it's a push necessarily for Disney Plus. I think it is just content creation for a celebration.
Right.
I could be very wrong.
Yeah, some of that we'll figure that out over time, I think, too. Okay, so just a couple other things that I want to talk about. Do you think this is, do we think that content creators are going to pivot and do things differently now that Disney has entered into their space? Or do you think they're just ignoring it, think it's in a different genre?
I think, I don't know that this particular material is enough to have anybody change what they're doing in the influencer space. But I will tell you, and you and I have talked about this before on our own, influencers need to come up with something different because it's to the point now where they're all talking about the same things
Right.
and all the same events and all the same food and all the same time and all the same everything. And you can almost follow it like brand by brand.
Right.
If these people do it first, these people aren't far behind them and they're going to talk about the exact same thing.
Right.
So it almost feels like there needs to be something else. But with that said, I think some care and caution needs to be made with that so that they're not doing things that are against the rules because people are going to pick up on that.
Right.
And that are respectful to other guests and all of those kinds of things.
Yeah. Agreed. Okay. As a vacation planner or someone that helps people plan vacations, do you think this kind of content has the ability to move the needle in how people plan vacations? Like, not thinking just about Disneyland, but if they were to do this in Disney World and Hong Kong and Japan and Euro, do you think, like, would you as a travel planner say, hey, go out and watch this stuff?
I might, for the simple fact that, as I've commented before, specifically with Disney World, there's no way that you can do everything within the confines of a trip. I don't care how long it is, you can't do it all. So when I talk to clients about planning their trip, I'm like, okay, pick 4 or 5 different things in each park that are your absolute must-dos. And if you've heard a lot about something, but you've never experienced it, to actually have it be one of your must-dos, but something that you really want to see or do because of whatever you've heard, go and check it out.
Right.
See if it's something that really grabs your soul and makes you be like, yep, that needs to go on one of my blanks.
Right.
I think it's another way to prep for a trip.
Okay. Just another tool.
Yeah.
Somebody can put in their toolkit.
Yep.
Okay. I had another question there, but I forgot what it was. Do you think that that kind of research elevates someone's trip or sanitizes it? Does it take away the element of surprise that comes with a Disney vacation?
100%.
Like, if somebody spent 30 days watching Main Street USA and Disney World videos, do you think that that first time around the corner and seeing the castle loses some of its magic?
Yes. Not completely. Because as many times as we have been there, that magic still hits me every time I walk around that corner, but it's because I'm there.
Right. And the people.
And the people, and just the music and the hustle and the bustle and all of those things go together to make it very magical. But I do think it would take away some of the element of excitement and just kind of getting yourself pumped up to go.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think I've watched enough ride-throughs now that I'm starting to get to the point where I'm less of I want to watch a ride-through of that if I haven't been on it. Like, for a while when new things came out, I would seek out the ride-throughs to be like, what is the experience? I want to stay connected. And as podcasters, again, we're talking an awful lot about influencers today. We have to lump ourselves into that space a little bit. Our audience isn't nearly as big as some of the others. Share it. That's a hint to share with your friends,
Yes.
everybody.
Hint, hint.
Hint, hint. But I think I feel sort of like I have to do some of that. But I also think, as much fun as I had on Guardians, I think I would have had more fun had I had no idea what to expect.
Right.
If I had gone in and not known how it launched, if I had gone in and not known that it was 7 different songs you could potentially get, or how many ever there are.
Right.
If I had not seen video of the Around the Moon section of that attraction, I think I would have been, and I'll tell you, that stuff still blew me away.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that section, videos do not do it justice.
Oh, at all. No.
And I think that's true of most of the attractions. Videos will never do them the justice they deserve.
No.
So always reserve your judgment about an attraction, even if you are a ride-through watcher. Reserve until you get on that attraction, because if you base your entire opinion about what you see online, you're going to be disappointed.
Yeah.
Because nothing is as good when you're sitting on your couch as it is when you're cramped into that Seven Dwarfs Mine Train cart.
Well,
swaying back and forth in those carts that move.
yes. Yes.
There's just nothing quite like that. Okay. I think that's a great place for us to stop this one. I think it was a good discussion.
Mm-hmm.
Listeners, come out to our socials. Let us know. Do you have some favorite influencers other than hanging at the Hangar Bar? Feel free to shout them out in our comments. Let us know who we should maybe go out and look for. People that we might like better than some of the others that we're kind of souring on. Let us know what you think of this topic. Have you gone out and watched any of the Disneyland 70th stuff? And what did you think of it? Even if it's, I know I was talking to somebody the other day that said they were not a ride-through watcher at all. They don't want to do it. They won't do it. But the walkthroughs of the lands they absolutely love. How did it compare to the hour and a half or 2 hour long videos that are out there of walking through a day in the life of the park? How did it feel different? Let us know what you think. Interact with us on social. We want you to be a part of the Hangar Bar crew and the Hangar Bar conversation. So just let us know. Couple of exciting things coming up over the next few weeks. The Food and Wine Festival is going to be here before we know it. Candice and I are planning on, again, exploring all the menus and booths and that kind of thing ahead of the festival, in the couple of weeks ahead of the festival. As soon as they release the menus, we'll get our planning around recording schedules done. But also, we have 2 more of those Star Wars episodes to release. I know, folks, we've gotten a lot of really good feedback on the first episode, and it was so much fun to record. And we're already talking about having Andy and Jackson back for the prequels and doing all of that. So if you haven't listened to that episode yet, do that, and then look forward to go out. I'm going to tie everything together so perfectly, Candice. You're going to love this. Go out and watch the Rise of the Resistance ride through and the Batuu walkthrough before we release next week's episode, because we're going to be talking all Batuu in next week's episode. So you'll know exactly what we're talking about, who we're talking about, and all the things if you kind of followed this episode straight into that episode.
And also, our trip is coming up shortly. And so we did a poll and a couple of things where we've asked your opinion. So we'll be sharing the outcomes of that. And then as we go into Food and Wine Festival menus, we're going to put the option out there of which festival booths should we try.
Right.
And what items from those booths do you want us to try?
Yeah, for sure. Because we want to spend some time at some of the booths when we're there. And then, we'll not announce I think if you follow us on socials, you probably know what the winning restaurant was, but we're also going to be putting out there for menus for you to choose what Scott gets to eat at the meal that was chosen. So pay attention to all of that. It's coming. We got a lot of exciting things happening towards the end of the year. And heck, we're almost at the end of summer already. And I can't believe we're talking Food and Wine. And
I know.
Then it's going to be the Festival of the Holidays. It's just nuts how quickly things are coming up. But thank you again for being with us. We love you all, and we love having you listening. We do this as much for you as for us. And thank you again for being here. And as we always say at the end of every episode, remember, there is always a great, big, beautiful tomorrow.
And we'll see you real soon.